Dr. Mimi Silbert, founder and CEO, Delancey Street Foundation. Problem: recidivism rates of up to 70% in the criminal justice system. Intervention: instituted a residential self-help community for substance abusers and ex-convicts. Results: over 90% of the Delancey graduates go on to live productive lives in society, never returning to drugs or prison. Mimi Silbert works with some of society's toughest criminals, drug addicts, gang members, and career offenders, and yet she has taken many of them under her wing at the Delancey Street Foundation. Meet Matt, Robert, and Keith.
I mean, I've had to, do shoplifting to support my habit. Not shoplifting to eat, shoplifting to get my drugs. And then I'll eat out of the garbage can after I get my drugs.
I'd stay out maybe 15, well, actually got down to about 20 days was my shortest time being out of jail. I'd get out of jail and go right back to the same environment.
A lot of people have come there, they've done 10, 15, 20 years in prison, and they've adapted to that lifestyle.
Like I said, there's people that stab their own sisters there, for drugs, for a lousy hit of drugs, put their own sisters on the street as prostitutes, sold their own kids. We're the ones that aren't savable. Those are the ones that go to Delancey Street.
Delancey Street takes residents from several sources, including straight from prison.
The judge told me I was going to do 12 years in prison if I didn't go to Delancey Street and complete it.
Then, within this self-help community, they work to save the so-called unsavable. Without any government funding, Delancey Street is supported by a number of resident-run businesses, ranging from restaurants to Christmas tree sales to a moving company. Residents are admitted for free, but are expected to stay at least 2 years and work hard every day to earn their keep. By graduation, residents have been transformed from the most far-gone felons, drug addicts, and gangsters to honest and upright citizens of society. Mimi Silbert relies on a full arsenal of influence strategies to ensure such substantial change. Everything from harnessing social capital to investing in skill building. One source that stands out, however, is her clever use of formal incentives.
Most of the rewards you receive in Delancey Street are through your effort in Delancey Street and the amount of progress you've made and the amount of change you've made.
Mimi uses a variety of rewards to motivate residents to progress through the program. Accommodations, for example.
You start in a dorm shared by 6, 8, maybe even 10 people, depending on room size. As you stay in Delancey Street and you become more senior, you'll go down to sharing a room with 4 guys or 6 guys. And then eventually, after you've been there for a while, you can end up with your own apartment almost overlooking San Francisco Bay and the marina. Very nice. It's a 2-bedroom apartment that you share with one other person. And that's a great reward.
She even uses money.
Yeah, after you've been in Delancey for a while, it's 18 months. After you've been in Delancey 18 months, you get what you call WAM, which is walking around money. And the longer you stay, the more you get. She's not going to give somebody $20 who's been in the door 30 days. They're going to run out and get a bag of dope with it. That's why she don't give it to you when you're there that soon. You have to earn that. You have to prove to Delancey that you can handle $20.
Mimi takes special care to tie incentives to vital behaviors. For instance, one vital behavior at Delancey is caring for those around you, a behavior that may sound natural to the average person, but is contradictory to the attitude taught in prisons and on the streets.
Well, when you first go into Delancey, like I said, most of us are from prison and jails, so the only thing that we care about is what's inside our little box. My little box is all I care about. I don't care about whatever else is going on in the world. I don't care about it. I came to Delancey just hating everybody.
Mimi motivates Delancey residents to care about others through carefully crafted promotions.
I was there for a couple of days, and then I was able to teach the guy behind me. To me, that was a promotion. When she's able to give you the reins to teach somebody else what you've learned, that's a promotion. And as I stayed longer, I was able to teach more. They put me in charge of an entire floor of people. It's called concierge. So my job now was not only to watch myself, but to watch 80 other guys. To make sure that they're doing the right thing and they're taking care of their rooms and they're cleaning up after themselves. It was a great job.
At first, the incentive of the promotion drives the residents to care about others. With a little time, however, the vital behavior begins to come naturally.
guys coming into Delancey that were just like me when I came into Delancey Street. So being there a little longer, I seen them. I was like, God, man, I was just like that. I was just like that. Now I see who I am now, and I see who I used to be. So now my job, and it makes me feel good, is to go to that guy and say, look, man, I used to be just like you. I know you heard this your whole life, but I'm telling you, I was just like you when I came into Delancey Street, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to work on these things for you, and you're going to help me. We're going to work on them. We're going to work on the way you walk and the way you talk, and it just makes you feel good when you see the change.
Matt, Robert, and Keith have since graduated and applied the skills they learned at Delancey to their own moving company.
We've come out of Delancey Street. We've kept doing the same things we were taught there, and we've taken this from one truck with me driving it to 16 trucks, and we earned a little over $3 million last year, and we're looking to take that up closer to $4 million this year. So I think that's a pretty decent accomplishment. We're doing it with people who, at various times were society's offcasts. Delancey Street has had a major influence on the success of this company. It wouldn't be here without Delancey Street. Period. It just wouldn't exist.
It's been like almost close to 4 years now, and just the steps I've made and just being normal. I mean, that's just the greatest thing to me.
You're talking to someone that's I probably got 6 or 7 felonies on my record, and they Movers Incorporated, Matt, they allow me to go all over the country by myself, and I trust myself now.
So if you're seeking to change behavior, follow one of Mimi's techniques by supplementing your influence strategies with rewards. By tying incentives to vital behaviors, you've increased your chances of affecting real behavioral change.
But we're all changing. That's the great thing about Delancey. It's just going to make us change. It's going to make us change. That's the greatest thing about Delancey. Is just stay. That's what they always told me. Just stay, and you'll change. Perfect. All right.